was supposed to sign new contract with the Dallas Cowboys, but he was not attended that activity. So many people are talking about this one. And according to insiders, George Pickens was supposed to sign a franchise tag contract with the Dallas Cowboys last week, but deal also was not signed. And on this Monday, he was supposed also to sign the contract with the Dallas Cowboys, but he was not there to sign that deal. So, what behind the scene? Why George Pickens is not signing a new deal with the Dallas Cowboys? That's a question you may ask yourself. But still now, no one who knows what is happening in the Dallas Cowboys between Cowboys and George Pickens. So, many people was asking about why George Pickens was not signed for a long-term contract. And of course, that's a question you may ask yourself, why George Pickens was not signed, because he's a good player and he showed his level last season, but Cowboys doesn't want to sign him for long-term contract. So we are going to go deeply to help you to understand why Cowboys did not sign him for long-term contract. First of all, Cowboys decided to give George Pickens an franchise tag tender of 1 year for worth of the $27 million, and the Cowboys decided to give him a franchise tag because they are not able to pay for him for long-term contract. George Pickens is one of the top wide receiver in NFL, and he wanted to be the first player who the paid wide receiver in the NFL. And by now, CeeDee Lamb was signed a new contract in the Dallas Cowboys in past weeks, but Cowboys cannot sign two wide receiver on that huge amount of the money at the same time. So that's why Cowboys decided to give him 1 year 1 year contract and franchise tag, so that they can continue to negotiate with him. But also, it looks like Cowboys is ready to let him leave the Cowboys. Any team that will interest in the George Pickens, Cowboys, it looks like it is ready to trade him. So by now, Cowboys is not ready to give him long-term contract, and Cowboys general manager Jerry Jones has announced that they are not ready to give him a long-term contract. So now we can wait if George Pickens will accept to sign a franchise tag or he will ask for a trade. So that's what can be happen. It's two possibility: either signing a new franchise tag or being traded to another team. So we still have time to look on this one, but George Pickens, he was a key player for the Dallas Cowboys. He helped the Dallas Cowboys last season. It was his best season. He has good performance last season. So Cowboys also, they don't want to lose him, but due to price of the George Pickens, they decided to let him leave if deal is not proceeding well. So they decided to give him a franchise tag. And every team in the NFL sign a player by also looking on the salary cap. So you cannot sign a player on huge salary and then after signing him, NFL lose and relegation of the salary cap will also be analyzed. So that's why Cowboys cannot sign him on huge salary, and then they can break the rules of the salary cap. That's why the board decided not to give him a long-term contract. They decided, of course, to give him a franchise tag of the 1 year so that they can balance a salary cap for the Dallas Cowboys. So, in a few period of time, we signed the CD Lamb and we pay him a huge amount of the money. That's why to sign those two players on the same time, it is not easy. That's why salary cap issues is the one major reason is why Dallas Cowboys decide not to give him a long-term contract. So that's what we can say about George Pickens. Let's jump and talk about on Cowboys and drafted free agent target. By now, Cowboys is still on the market for undrafted free agent. But before we talk about that one, you remember we signed and we selected 7 draft players, and most of them they are defensive players. But in undrafted free agent players, we have another good players, including Jordan Hudson, one of the wide receiver who is promising player. He was born and raised in Dallas. Jordan Hudson initially committed to TCU before transferring to CMU, and his role grew each year, and he became the top receiver for the Mustangs this past season. Although he is only finished with the 785 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns in crowded receiver room. Danny Bugler of the Athletic graded Hudson as a 6th or 7th round prospect and 33 receiving in the draft. So getting him as undrafted free agent is a bit of the steal. And Hudson will have to work to make the roster, but he has the talent to be in the mix for the final receiver spot in the Dallas. In an undrafted also players, we have Baylor, T. Michael Trigg from Baylor, one of the most tantalizing undrafted free agents out of there. Michael Trigg was a bit of the shock to not get picked at 6.4 feet and 240 pounds. His 34 arms make him ridiculously long move tight end, and he caught 50 passes for 694 yards and 6 touchdowns this past year, despite playing in offense that doesn't typically prioritize the tight end. So he is also one of the best player. Triggs needs to grow a little in the blocking category and hone some of his techniques, but it is passing league and Trigg is a weapon when used down the field. There were also concerns about his maturity in college, no doubting playing a part in going undrafted, but the coaching staff in the Dallas, namely Lunda Wells, likely have a plan to coach him up and unlock his potential. So Cowboys on undrafted market, they have more players they can select, and these players, they are very one who are talented. So we are not finished, of course. After drafting the best players, we are continue also in undrafted free agent players so that we can sign the talented one. As you know, we signed different players this off season. You have to know that's one. Yes, we signed the players in this off season. Especially we signed players on the on the defensive side. As you know, we signed the safety Jaren Thompson and Malik Hooker, and we signed also Lasha Nigari, an edge rusher. We signed also we signed different players, my friend. And in the NFL draft class 2026, we was not also quiet. We signed different players. We drafted players. We drafted one of the best safety in this 2026 NFL class, Caleb Down, and we hope that he's going to change something in the defense of the Dallas Cowboys. So more people was happy after signing of the Caleb Down, after selecting Caleb Down in the NFL draft, because more people believe Caleb Down is among of the safety in the NFL who has potential, and let us see what he's going to do for the Dallas Cowboys. And we hope that also other signings that we have done, including Kobe Durant, Jalen Thompson, they are going to do something special for the Dallas Cowboys. And you remember, we have a key departures this off-season, like Trevon Diggs. He was cornerback. He's a good player. Denavon Wilson also, he was a safety player. So we have also departed with the Osa Odingizua, tight end, and Dante Fowler, offensive linebacker, and we also departed with the Kenneth Mulai, but we signed more players this offseason, including, as we said, Kobe Durant. We signed the Lashan Gary. We signed the Jaren Thompson. We signed different players, and we hope these players are going to do something special for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason. As also General Manager Jerry Jones said, Cowboys is ready to compete at the highest level in NFL. So we can do something special this offseason is to rebuild the strong team so that we can compete at the highest level in upcoming season in NFL. So that's what we can talk about on the Dallas Cowboys news. We talked about more Garland High School in Dallas. Jordan Hudson spent the first 2 seasons of his collegiate career before transferring to CMU in 2024. And of course, in 2025 season was his most productive yet, posting 766 yards and 6 touchdowns on 61 receptions to lead the team in receiving. So there is more reasons, of course, for signing Jordan Hudson on position of the wide receiver. You know, we have George Pickens and CD Lamb as our wide receiver, but remember that CD Lamb was signed on franchise tag. It is 1 year, and there is more chances that CD Lamb will stay. Of course, he signed the long-term contract with the Cowboys, but George Pickens, there is no guarantee that he will stay with the Dallas. Anytime he can be traded. That's why we need more wide receivers. As you know, offensive side, it is a key part of the team, and the Cowboys need more offensive linemen players who have some capacity and capability for winning the games and the touchdowns. So that's why signing this talented wide receiver Jordan Hudson, who has these good numbers last 2 seasons, so it can be more and good idea for the Dallas Cowboys. So Jordan Hudson, a wide receiver who scored 6 touchdowns and 61 reception last season. He is among of the top targets for the Dallas Cowboys in this undrafted free agent players from the 2026. So that was number one, Jordan Hudson, wide receiver. Another target for the Dallas Cowboys we have, it is Michael Trick, and a tight end who has 6.4 feet and 240 pounds. Michael Trick is a huge target and a big-time athlete who can go up and make all kinds of the contested catches. Michael Trick posted career highs in yards, which is 694, and touchdown. He scored 6 last season. So you understand that he has good numbers and statistics. So Michael Tricks, who plays as a tight end position, he's of course good player, and of course we need another tight end player. These players are very important. They are very important, and when you try to look on his numbers, his statistics, you see that he's a good player, he's a promising player. So Cowboys front office also is working to sign him and bring him to the Dallas Cowboys in this upcoming season. We have also another wide receiver from the Georgia Southern, Kamet Brown. Kamet Brown is another wide receiver who is in undrafted free agents list. So in 2025, Camden Brown was first team All Sunbelt Conference and Conference Newcomer of the Year after leading the Eagles with 1,079 receiving yards and scoring 14 touchdowns on 65 catches. So you understand that he has good numbers and a good statistics. So Brown, of course, is also a wide receiver, and as we talked about above, about signing Jordan Hudson, also a wide receiver. That's mean Cowboys cannot sign them. They can sign one of them. So we have Camden Brown and Jordan Hudson, but on my side, I can suggest signing Jordan Hudson because he has good number. He played at high level this college football, so he is of course promising one. We have to choose one, of course. So me on my side, we can choose Jordan Hudson rather than Camden Brown. Those two players are wide receivers, but we need one of them. Of course, we cannot sign them at the same time. So we can select and sign Jordan Hudson. Now, talks, of course, is going on. We don't have also wide receiver and tight end only. We have Kelvin Gilliam and a defensive tackle from the Virginia Tech. He was not also drafted, and after 3 years at Oklahoma, Kelvin Gilliam transferred to Virginia Tech for his final 2 seasons and made a combined of the 69 tackles and 3 tackles for loss. So you understand that this defensive tackle, he has good numbers. So Kelvin Gilliam from the Virginia Tech also, now Cowboys can sign him. Of course, can sign him in undrafted free agents. You understand that he's a good player, he has good numbers, so we can sign him. Not only Kelvin Gilliam and a defensive tackle, we have Dominic Richardson, linebacker from Tulsa. Yes, you hear that? Dominic Richardson, a linebacker. We need more linebackers on that position. 6-year senior Richard Dominic is an experienced player who spent time at both Oklahoma State and Baylor before playing his final season at Tulsa. So with the Golden Hurricanes, Richardson lashed for 1,065 yards and 5 touchdowns on 2012 carries. So you understand that he has good numbers. So Dominic Richardson, linebacker from Tulsa, also he is another top target for the Dallas Cowboys to be signed after NFL draft. So we have also Sidney Fugger, offensive tackle from Baylor, after stints at Western Illinois and Southern Carolina. Sidney Fugger transferred to Baylor in 2024 through 2 seasons with the Bears. Sidney Fugger played in 24 games, starting 15 at left tackle. So he's also undrafted free agent in this 2026. Now he is a top target also for the Dallas Cowboys on his position, offensive tackle. And of course, we need those players. We need to strengthen our squad. Dallas Cowboys this offseason. So Sidney Fugger, offensive tackle with good numbers. Cowboys are thinking about him. Yes, they're thinking about him if he can be signed by the Cowboys this offseason. And also we have another offensive tackle, Pete Shiazi. So I'm sorry for reading his name, but he is from Kentucky. He has 6.8 feet with 309 pounds. Pete is a huge left tackle that started in 12 games for the Wildcats in 2025 after spending a previous 4 seasons at New Mexico State. So Cowboys offensive lineman coach Connor Lilly was in attendance for Kentucky Pro Day, where Pete worked out in front of NFL personnel. So of course, we Cowboys try to look on him in a Pro Day, and we hope that they have analyzed him so that they can sign him if he's a good player. You understand that he has good numbers, he has good statistics, he has good size, so he can be signed by the Cowboys as the offensive tackle of Pete from the Kentucky. So we can conclude this undrafted free agent on TG Withers, tight end, a defensive tackle from Kansas. TG Withers spent 4 seasons at Kansas in the middle of the defensive line, combining for 37 tackles and 5 sacks over his last 2 seasons with the Jayhawks. And a native of the Little Rock, Arkansas, Withers spent a lot of time playing with Danny Jr., another Cowboys undrafted free agent signing. So TG Withers, defensive tackle, he's also top target for the Dallas Cowboys. You know, we try to sign more players on defensively, because you know last season we suffered a huge for defensive side. That's why we changed everything from the coaching staff up to the players who we want to sign. So that's why we have new faces. You understand, Cowboys this season will be looking very new team with new faces, with more new faces. Yes, of course, you will wait the training camp to see how these players will look like. We will see the preseason games to see if there is some changes. As you know, or defensive coordinator Christian Parker said they are going to change more things. Yes, of course, they are going to change the way of the system or way the Cowboys defensively plays. So he said they are going to move from they are going to move to 3 to 4 systems so that Cowboys can improve their defensive protection. So let us see when the play season will start and when the training camp will start to see how these players, how this new tactic is going to work for the Dallas Cowboys in upcoming season. So that's what we can talk about in this undrafted free agents, which is already started, and the Cowboys are searching among of these players we mentioned above to see if they can sign some of them, and I have good players among of these ones. So let's wait and see. And social media and of course insiders, they tried to analyze why Dallas Cowboys have chances to select Caleb Downs from the Ohio State. In college football, he was a very amazing player on his position. He has good statistics which proved him as one of the best safety in college football from the Ohio State University. And more Cowboys fans were very excited after hearing that we selected Caleb Downs. What he's going to do for the Dallas Cowboys, that's a question, of course, you have to ask yourself before celebrating. We have more challenges in our defensive side last season, which showed how we suffered in the NFL. And we failed to qualify for the playoffs last season. And also, it is 2 consecutive games without qualifying for the playoff in NFL. After leaving of the new defensive coordinator, Christian Parker, what he was asked to do by the Jerry Jones, it is to collect and strengthen and rebuild the defensive side of the Dallas Cowboys, because we suffered a huge last season defensively. And in this NFL draft class, we tried to select players especially on defensive side. And when you look at on the trade that we have made this offseason, we signed more players on positions in the defensive side so as to strengthen and rebuild the strong defensive. And we decided to sack our defensive coordinator Eberflus due to poor performance of the Dallas Cowboys defensively, and we hired Christian Parker because we believe he can change more things in the Dallas Cowboys. So coming of the Caleb Downs on his position, it is another hope that we can do something special in the NFL this coming season. And also selecting Malachi Lawrence as an edge rusher. We have we still have a huge gap after leaving of the Micah Parsons. We have to find another key players on that position. And Malachi Lawrence being selected in the round 1 as an edge rusher, this could change something in the Dallas Cowboys. Even if he's not going to be a starter, a regular starter for the Dallas Cowboys, but he can develop in the Dallas Cowboys as we need young players. Same case to Caleb Downs as proven player in college football, and same case to Malachi Lawrence. We have to build a strong and squad that can compete at the end of the regular season. So we need a qualification for the playoffs. We missed to play in the playoffs, so that's why we are trying to select those players who can help us. Those was 2 players who were selected in round 1. In round 3, we selected pick 92, Jaishwan Barham, an edge rusher from Michigan. So he was selected in round 3. Also, he's an edge rusher from Michigan. And also, as we said, we need players defensively. In round 4, we selected pick 112, Drew Shelton, an offensive tackle from Penn State. So he was selected at pick 112, round 4. And also in round 4, we selected pick 114, Devin Moore, a cornerback from the Florida. Yes. In round 4 also, we selected pick 135, Overton, an edge rusher from the Alabama. And the last pick we selected in this class of the 2026 NFL draft is week 218, Anton Smith, an away wide receiver from the East Carolina. These are 7 players we have selected in this NFL draft 2026 class. They are going to do something for the Dallas Cowboys, of course. Yes, I believe. But there is more doubt for the fans who was not satisfied. But let me say that on my side, we are now ready. In the press conference, Jerry Jones was asked about this draft selection 2026. And then he said, Cowboys is building the defense so that we can compete at highest level this season, and we tried to sign more players defensively so that we can win different games, and also we can find how we can defend ourselves from the being lose the game due to defensive weakness. So as the things which threatened Dallas Cowboys last season, this offseason, the front office tried to find a solution for that issue, which we experienced in 2 consecutive seasons, defensive weakness. So Jerry Jones believes Cowboys can do something special this season. And then when you go through the squad of the Dallas Cowboys, and then you see the players who were signed this offseason, you know we signed Lashan Gary as one of the best player in NFL. We signed him as a promise that this team is ready to compete at highest level in NFC East. So we signed different players before the end of the season. Defensively, we signed Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams. It was a big addition